Let us exchange knowledge about leap year. What do you guys know? Share it so we can learn from each other. All right. Leap year, right? This happens every 4 years, right? And that's what we're going through right now. So we can see that the sun is crossing over into the northern hemisphere. You can see it's coming across the middle of the sky, and it takes a few days to pass through this phase, right? So we are ushering in the new year, right? But we do not start counting the first month until what? The next new moon comes. So when we see the next new moon, that's when you start counting the first month of the year. So after the next new moon, which we use the full moon, 14 days after that, then it will be the Passover. So Passover is always going to be on a black moon, which I'll talk about that when the time comes. The sun is entering our hemisphere now, so we are going into a new cycle, but we do not record the first month of the year as yet. And as for identifying the beginning of the cycle, you can tell the what's it called, the Big Dipper, right? So it usually come up like maybe in the 4 a.m., 3 a.m., so forth. But as you see right now, it start coming up what? Early in the evening. So you know that we're also going into the beginning cycle over in the northern hemisphere, right? That's how you know when your annual cycle is starting over. So every 4 years, there's a realignment that takes place. So the sun and the moon goes into a loop, which is why they call it the leap year. What happened with the Gregorian calendar is that they leap every year. So every year they add an extra 10 or 11 days. So every year they add another 10 or 11 days. So this is why you do not have you cannot say exactly when the year starts. If you do not have that calendar in your head, January, February, March, then the 21st of March, if you do not have that, you cannot identify when is the 21st of March. It's just the idea, it's just the concept you have. You have no reality towards the 21st of March. There's nothing you can look for on the 21st of March to say, this is the beginning of the year. Because every day physically looks the same. But we go by the heavens. So we know that, okay, it's coming across into our hemisphere now, and everything is going to start anew. But we do not record the first month of the year until the next new moon. And that happens every 4 years, including the years that are divisible by 100 and the years that are divisible by 400. So the cycle of the year is that once the sun comes over and you have the first moon, it's going to take 3 moons heading north, right? And this is where you're going to have that spring. Now the sun is going to make a turn like an 8, coming back around wide on a wider scale and higher, right? So in the 4th moon, so once it goes to this, from the center of the sky going north, then it starts to come around. Guess what? That's going to be the beginning of summer. The sun starts to what? Ascend higher. So it's giving more energy, more of pumping more of that helium into earth, and that's where you harvest your crops. So harvest is in the 4th moon. When that time comes, I'll speak about what actually takes place and harvest, or what we call Pentecost, or whichever way we call it, right? So it's gonna go through 3 more moons coming back on the return journey, and it's gonna cross over again in the southern hemisphere, where it's gonna do another 6 moons, same cycle. 3 moons for the fall season, where it's descending, where it's gonna be getting closer to the earth over in the southern hemisphere. So that's when their agricultural season is gonna start, or are starting now. Theirs is gonna start when it goes closer to the earth over there. And then within 3 moons period, the sun is gonna turn around again. And that's when everything starts to get cold for us over here, when they are gonna be having their summer, because the sun is gonna be closer to the earth over there. So for most of the people who follow their, what's it called? The zodiac thing, the birthday thing, you always have problems, because when you go by, okay, I'm born January, I'm a Capricorn, you don't understand. If you're in the southern hemisphere and you're born January, you are not a Capricorn. But you guys will believe the concept anyway, and then be convinced by that. And right? Well, that's the cycle of the sun and the moon. So we go by the solar, lunar. We go by the cosmos. We follow the cosmos. We follow the knowledge of the cosmos, not things people write on paper. There has to be manifestation towards the knowledge that we follow. It has to descend from the cosmos. So go ahead and share what you have regarding this so we can exchange information.